In India, every person studying photography will hear of legends like Raghurai, Pablo Bartholomew, Prabhudadas Gupta, Humay Vyarwala, and Atul Kasbekar. They will also hear of the camera obscura for which modern day photography has been possible. However, knowing photography history is not everybody's cup of tea. To make life simpler for such people, Aditya Arya runs his camera museum, which takes people back in time so that they can understand the evolution of photography over the ages. Museo camera is situated in a basement in Gurgaon. A museum of cameras which was set up out of sheer love for photography, it has turned out to be a massive crowd puller. It has over 1,000 cameras of all vintages as well as 20,000 silver prints. Over 70% of the cameras are in working order or can be repaired. A wooden camera stands mounted on a beautifully crafted tripod. Next to it are rows of curious cameras, some so large that they have inbuilt dark rooms, others can be carried easily.
It's not about a collection, it is a museum which is also curated. When I say curate, I mean I try and link the history of that camera with the history of photography and its evolution. Who used it, how it was used, where it was used, and how did the cameras evolve. And so there is a deep link between the art and the craft of photography. So we try and recreate that, introduce that to the people.
A walk through the Museo camera is equal to taking a step back in time. On display are cameras dating back to the late 1800s, arranged not by date but by make, each representing iconic moments in the history of photography. On display are studio, field and portable cameras manufactured by companies such as Eastman Kodak, Leica, Ansco, Zeiss, Graflex and Thornton Picard between 1880 and 1990. An integral part of the museum is Arya's collection of 20,000 original silver prints chronicling India's freedom movement.
Is a culmination of three of my favorite things: being a student of history, being mechanically minded, and being a photographer, trying to understand the history of photography. And also, I teach photography, I like to talk about photography. So, I like the present generation, the digital, the born digital generation, to understand how did things actually evolve.
Some cameras have been donated by friends and acquaintances, but almost 85% of Arya's stock comes from Kabadiwalas. Started by Arya in 2009, the museum displays his personal collection that he started in the 70s. The cameras come from all over the world and it is one of the single largest such collection in the country. One of the oldest cameras in the museum is 4 feet high Kodak Century studio camera dating back to 1890s.
The present generation has very scant knowledge or respect for photography. They have no idea how analog photography was done. They only depend on the Photoshop and such apps to create images. People in analog era created images here before they were captured in the camera, because the whole process was very tedious, and this is what I teach, how tedious was the process. It was process driven. Today you click and the process is post, while it was pre in the analog eras.
The smallest camera in the museum is a Minox, which was used in the Watergate scandal. Besides, there is a camera produced by the Nazis wearing Nazi insignia. Arya has spent hours researching the history of cameras for the purpose of nomenclature, captions, and cataloging. Museo Camera is a must-visit location for photographers, young and old, professional or amateur.